Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and we have both of those in one go today. Mrs. Levitas, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Still getting used to the name.
It's strange, isn't it? I mean, here we were in 2008 doing the last hour special for the BBC, and we've spoken in between at various concerts. Your life is extraordinary, and it just gets better and better, and you presumably are the most happy you've ever been.
This is honestly the best year of my life. I feel so lucky. I think generally you feel like either your career's having a good year or your personal life's having a good year. I don't think I've had one where, I felt like they've been on an equal footing, and yeah, it's the best year ever, and I don't want it to end.
How does it feel when you've got it right and you've found the person who makes you feel whole and content and wonderful?
Everything clicks into place, and when you know, and that's the only way I can put it. I don't know how I know, but it's right, and I'm very, very happy.
I know the last time we spoke of spirituality and those guiding you from above. How do you explain it? Because it sort of came out of the blue, didn't it?
We share a lot in common anyway, aside from the obvious being that we're both artistic people. He's a sculptor and a painter and a filmmaker. We both lost our fathers to lung cancer when we were young, and I think that if anybody's ever lost a parent at a young age, that you're already in some kind of club, like you understand each other in a certain way. So I think I don't know, maybe our dads were plotting it above.
And I guess the only downside to that wonderful day, and we saw those pictures, was that your dad couldn't be there in person. I'm sure he was there in spirit.
Absolutely, and we paid a lot of tributes to him, and my mum walked me down the aisle and did the speech in place of my father, so he was definitely there.
How do you cope with the emotion of a day like that? Because it was on such an enormous scale. You'd got so much going on in your head, you could probably start a conference. It was all about you, and of course the world was interested as well. It wasn't just about you and him and the family. I mean, we all wanted to know, which is lovely, but it's quite intrusive, isn't it?
Well, that's actually why I was thrilled when I saw that George Clooney was getting married on the same day as us, because I really didn't want that kind of wedding, and we were able to, unfortunately, we had to swear everybody to secrecy because we didn't want it to be a circus, and we were offered to sell our wedding, but we didn't want to, and we declined. And so we just wanted to be a normal bride and groom and just have all the family over and not be a showbiz event and have a day off and enjoy it. And we were lucky because, it came out the day before, but we got a run up without people knowing, and therefore we had a fairly normal day for us, and it was fantastic.
Is it still extraordinary that we care? I mean, I spoke to you about this last time. You are so exceptional and brilliant and talented, and you are not normal in a sense that you're that brilliant, but at the same time, you're just a normal girl from Wales who wants to be normal. Do you get fed up of people like me talking to you about it?
So many questions there. I don't think of myself like all those lovely things you just said, and I think that I do want to be normal. I feel like in 10 years I'm quite happy with the fact that I think I've got through a decade with all the same friends that I had before the record contract, my family being just as important to me, and I still feel like, okay, I'm more confident, but I think that comes with age. I understand my job better, my performance skills are more developed, but ultimately I think I'm pretty much the same person. So I think that's something to be happy. I'm never going to get used to people running with me with cameras in the park. I'm never going to get used to people wanting to talk to me in the shops. That's a nice bit of it, but every job's got ups and downs.
I always say there are certain people in life who are blessed with everything. Look at this face. This is not a guy that's been blessed. But when I look at your CD, and then I look at your CV, and then I look at you, I think you really have got everything. I mean, you've got the beauty, which is appealing. We don't want to look at ugly people, let's be honest. And then I listen to this new CD, and your voice is as strong, if not stronger than ever. That tone and that richness is just getting better and better and better. And I've seen you live, I don't know, 10 or 15 times over the years at various events, and you hold that audience in the palm of your hand. I wonder how you view yourself. Do you know how good you are at what you do?
No, probably not. I mean, I just try and go out there and just have fun and be myself, enjoy it. It's one of those things that I think at the very beginning somebody gave me advice, which was like, just be yourself. Don't put on an act. Don't be this other persona, because it's going to be a very hard act to keep up. And certainly when I go out on stage, I feel like I get the chance to be more myself on stage than anywhere else. So I like that talking to the audience part. I like that that banter, it's a special bit for me.
And you make it look so easy. I noticed the title of this new album is Home Sweet Home, and I guess there's a double meaning to that. You are home now, aren't you? You've found your place on stage, you've found your place at home, and your place within yourself that's at its most confident and happy. Is that what this is about?
Yeah, it has many meanings, exactly as you said. I feel in a really sort of centered and settled place, but also I think when you're making your 10th album and you sort of go, right, what were the bits that worked? What didn't work? What did I enjoy? And of course, over the 10 years, you never want to make the same album, so you're naturally experimenting. And I did, a cover of a Dolly Parton song. I did a cover of Evanescence, this kind of stuff. I think that what I realised looking back was I really am happiest in that classical rooting, in the songs that come from classical, and then we can work to make them more accessible and to make them sound contemporary, but ultimately it's the classical stuff. So I felt like I'd gone full circle to the sort of style of my first few albums, and I've also gone back to the record company that signed me when I was a 23-year-old school teacher. So to like be back with them and back with the original team, it just feels like I've come home in a musical sense. And with all the traveling of the past decade, it's also nice to feel like, okay, I'm back in the UK. This is where I feel so proud to have come from, and so as a little tribute to Wales and to the UK.
It's interesting as well, I'd written on my list that we haven't even got to yet about travel, because your life is torturous in a way. You're on these planes where everybody's coughing and sneezing, and then you've got to go and perform. Sunday night you're going to do Strictly. Is it terrifying being you in a way? Because if you don't sound like Katherine Jenkins, we're not going to be impressed, are we?
There is, of course, a pressure. I totally appreciate that when people are spending their hard-earned money for a ticket, they want me to be on good form, and I feel that pressure. And it comes with a responsibility. So there are certain things, like I can't drink alcohol, at least 5 days before I sing, no dairy products on the day, I don't speak for 24 hours before I sing. All this sounds pretty hardcore, but it's what I have to do, and I don't think about it now, it's just natural to me. But these are things that I have put, built into my life to make sure that I can sing my best.
Sunday night you're going to be doing Strictly. I don't know whether you can comment on this, but there must be something in you that thinks I can do this live and I can show off when other people on other shows don't. Does that mean a lot to you that you give a live performance? Because doing it to a tape, anybody can do that, can't they, really? I
think it honestly depends who the artist is. Personally, I think if you're going to, classical musicians, I hate it if somebody asks me, can you mime for, sometimes there's a technical thing, like they're filming something in a certain way, maybe it's outdoors, they haven't got the sound quality, they may ask you to mime, in which case that usually really upsets me. I will always choose to sing live. And I think that, of course, if you're doing a crazy dance routine sometimes, maybe you can't sing, but, it's their choice. But me, I'm happy I'm happy that I get to sing live, and it would always be my option.
And that, of course, is where you're home. Can anything go wrong now? I mean, I imagine when you're on stage, even if the mic went down, you'd carry on, wouldn't you? You seem incredibly confident. Or is that all facade?
Oh no, I've learned, I think, over the years, is if something went wrong on stage now, I know how to handle it. In the first year, I probably would have had a panic and I would have lost myself. But now you've got to look at these, whether it's you forget the words or your dress pings off, like a strap happens, there's so many things that can go wrong. The mics fail, the lights go out, whatever. You've just got to kind of laugh and get on with it and make it, I usually tell the audience when something goes wrong, and I make a joke out of it, because those are the things that make you remember a concert as well. Do you remember that time when, and you do remember, of all the concerts, I can remember those things. And it's special. Talking of things special, you give so much of yourself to charity, and this is something that obviously is not you're doing for PR like so many do. I know this year's been kind of tough with Polly and all of that stuff and losing friends, and we're both the same age, and it is strange, isn't it, when you become of an age where your own friends are passing away. It's very, very difficult. Family members you can kind of understand. What do you draw from that? Because I've seen on Twitter so many of your fans draw strength from your incredible ability to cope with this stuff. What does it teach you? What does it tell you in life when these people who are so magical leave us? You're right. It is so weird when it's somebody in your age group. When you've got I'm lucky. I've got sort of 6 best girlfriends, and never ever did it cross my mind that Polly wouldn't be at my wedding. And you know, it's tragic. But Polly had an amazing sense of, you know, she really had this energy that she was going to live every day, and she never gave up, and she was always so brave. And if she was here, she'd be the first one, you know, jetting off to visit some place she'd always wanted to go, or the first one on the dance floor at a party. And that's really my thing, is that, you know, I almost feel like, well, I'm lucky that I'm here, and I have to live the life that she would want, and I have to take inspiration from her attitude, and that I learned that lesson from my dad too.
How do you do it on those shows when you're coming back after something like that and you're singing these incredibly emotional songs, and you sort of have to keep it under control, can't you? Because you can't be a blubbering wreck. How do you do that?
It's a really hard one, because the minute you cry or you lose focus, the voice goes. And, you know, I have sung at a lot of difficult situations, but I think probably the two most difficult times to sing, one incredibly happy, one incredibly sad. I sang at Polly's funeral, and it was almost a case of literally having to mentally zone out to be able to sing the song, because I wanted to honour her, but not being able to almost really appreciate where I was until afterwards. And then, you know, I was a mess afterwards, but I had to sing the song. And I also sang at my sister's wedding, and that's probably the worst I've ever sung in my life, because I was so happy and I was so emotional that I think it was pretty rubbish. I just couldn't keep it together.
It's a funny old world, isn't it? How you go from the highs and the lows, and they're the same emotion in a way, aren't they? They're almost uncontrollable. For you now, as we'll end how we started, with this happiness and the place you are. I know the next thing, I feel a bit of sort of Kate and Prince William coming on about you. They all want you to have a family. What's the plan? Is there one, or what happens? It's
so funny. Like, you know, when you get engaged, everybody wants to, when are you getting married? And then you get married, and when are you having babies? It's like, give us a rest, give us a chance. I do really want a family. I think that just in the foreseeable future, I'm about to obviously be talking about the album until Christmas, and then I'm touring the UK through February and March, and then I've got to do that in other places around the world. And then at that point, it might be nice to sort of take a little bit of time out and see what happens, and it's definitely on the list of priorities.
So the newspapers can start the rumours about next summer then?
I've already had 2 calls. My manager called me last week. She's like, "Are you pregnant?" I'm like, "You saw me drinking champagne last week. Come on, like I can't cope with this, and I can't cope with this call every week."
How beautiful is that baby going to be, though? I mean, it's almost sickening, isn't it?
Well, please God that we're lucky, touch wood, we're lucky enough, and they're fit and healthy, and that's all I care about.
It's amazing what time does, isn't it? How 2008, you were living a completely different life, and here you are today. I mean, is it the dream you hope for through the ups and downs that we've talked through in life? And there's always going to be equal ups and downs. As you're sat here now, is it all a bit of a dream?
It's a complete dream. It's a whirlwind. I didn't have a dream as to what this would be. I didn't think I would end up in this kind of commercial side of music. So certainly the singing opportunities are far above and beyond anything I thought possible. The lifestyle stuff is just crazy, and I'm not sure I'll ever take that in properly, but I've been so fortunate. If it stops tomorrow, I've had an amazing decade, and I feel very, very lucky.
Do you know what I love the most about you is your humility and the fact you don't get involved in the nonsense. We don't see you falling out of clubs, or we don't see you looking for PR opportunities. You do what you do, and that's why I think you're such a genius, and you really are at the top of your game for that, and you should be applauded for it. Seems like everybody's making headlines for no reason. You just do what you do and make that sing for itself, don't you?
Well, I always just wanted to be a singer. I'm not really that interested in being a celebrity. I think we've got a thing in the UK of sort of talking about successful females, that they have to be sort of ambitious and driven and all this kind of stuff. I just think I work hard, and I want to have the musical opportunities, so all the rest you sort of have to do to make those happen. And the music will always be the priority, and the reason why I do the rest of it.
That's why I don't believe in tokenism. I think it does people like you a disjustice, because, you know, the most powerful woman in the world is Oprah Winfrey. She's black and a woman. The best singer in Britain is arguably you, and you're female. You don't need token gestures, do you, to be given in your place? And it almost sets you back by doing that. It's pointless.
I do think that, you know, women are, I don't know, it's sort of sometimes get a little bit of a unfair run, but you know, it is what it is, and I can't complain. I've got an amazing job. I'm lucky that I get to sing. I'm lucky that people want to come and hear me, and so, you know, we have to take the rough with the smooth.
I hope you know how much we love you. The fans on these websites where I put these interviews up just adore you. Aww. From my grandma to my mother to myself, you've just got a warmth about you, and I wish you every happiness in the future. Katherine Jenkins, your new album is out now. It's called Home Sweet Home. It really is tremendous, and it's you doing what you do best, and of course on tour next year. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Such a lovely interview. Thank you.